Back with us here on Halftime Report. Greenpanel Industries is the next management on the show. It reported a weak quarter because MDF realizations hurt its overall performance. The revenues were down and it trickled down to the profitability as well. We have V Venkatramani, the CFO of Greenpanel Industries, joining in. Mr. Venkatramani, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in, and festive greetings to you, your family and your team as well from CNBC-TV18. Well, to talk about the quarter gone by, your revenues were down, your EBITDA has almost halved from previous year. The net profit is also down almost 55%. What would you attribute that to other than the MDF volumes? And when do you expect the situation to improve going forward?
Yeah, good afternoon and happy Diwali to your team and all the viewers. Yeah, it's been a tough and challenging first half of the year, but we are expecting things to be significantly better in the second half and the next financial year. So if you look at the MDF side, capacities have grown by about 60% over the last 2 years. And, a lot of price action has happened from newer capacities, which has also forced us to take price cuts. And at times, it's also impacted our volumes because we try to defer price cuts to the extent possible. So we have focused on things that we can control. There are a lot of variables that we can't control right now. Price action is dictated by competitors. Wood prices have been rising continuously. So we have been focusing on variables which we can control, which are the receivables and the cash flows. But as I stated, we expect a significantly improved performance in the second half, a growth of about 35% in MDF volumes as compared to the first half, and volume growth of around 30% in the plywood segment as compared to the first half.
All right, so 35% volume growth as compared to the first half, 30% volume growth in the plywood business as compared to the first half. For the full year, what does that equate to, Mr. Venkatramani, when it comes to revenue and volume comparison over FY24, which itself wasn't one of the best years given the weakness that we've seen in the industry?
That's correct. So when I said a 35% volume growth in the MDF segment, I was referring to the domestic segment. So we did volumes of around 184,000 cubic meters in the first half. So we are targeting about 246,000 cubic meters in the second half. Exports, we did volumes of around 35,000 in the first half, so targeting similar volumes in the second half. And in the plywood segment, we did volumes of around 28 lakh square meters in the first half, targeting about 35 lakh square meters in the second half. So overall, we should be looking at a top line of close to 1,600 crores this year.
Okay, and what's your view on realizations? By when do they bottom out?
I think realizations have bottomed out, because we have seen competitors announcing price increases, towards the end of October, which is expected to be effective from the second week of November. So I think, yes, realizations have bottomed out, and possibly not any significant increases this year. We could see increases in the range of 3 to 5% in the second half of this year, but we expect better realizations in the next year.
Mr. Venkatramani, as a market leader in the MDF space, as a number 2 player in the plywood space, you mentioned you are dealing with things that are in your control. So what are the steps that you are taking from your end to improve the situation, considering the guidance that you have given for the second half?
Yeah, so we have been concentrating on the cost side, integrating the marketing team. We had separate teams for plywood and MDF. So we have integrated the team into a single team, which is looking after both the product segments. So that also means a larger team to focus on both the segments and better coordination amongst the team members. And we have reduced the number of physical marketing officers. We had 17 offices. So I think by the end of this quarter, we will be down to about 5 or 6 marketing offices across the country, because we felt that you don't really require office spaces for
Right.
the sales team. They are better placed working in the markets with the dealers and the retailers.
All right, that's fair. You are undertaking a lot of steps to optimize the entire situation right now, as it were, from the cost end. Just a two-part question as you speak about this. The first part is you were focusing on value added as a part of your domestic volumes as well. How much is that right now? How is that performing? How much is that likely to be? And you've given us a target of 1,600 crore on the top line for this year. What would the margins be given all the things that you're doing and the fact that realizations have now bottomed out?
Okay. So last year, the mix of value-added products in MDF was 50% of the domestic volumes. If you look at the first half, it was about 47% in the first quarter and 54% in the second quarter. We are targeting a mix of value-added products at 65% of domestic volumes by the end of FY27. Of course, when I say 65%, that's based on the existing capacities, not for the new capacity which will be coming online in Q3. And margins, yes, MDF margins have been around 12.5% in the first half. We are targeting about a 15% MDF margin in the second half. And plywood margins, I think, will be continue to be around low single digit for the current financial year.
So what does that do to your overall margin picture, Mr. Venkatramani?
I think we should be looking at EBITDA value of around 220 crores for the full year.
All right, we take that point. Thank you so much for joining in, and for you and the industry, we hope that things really do improve, and we see a very good FY26 as compared to some improvement in H2FY25 and a lot of weakness in the first half of this year as well. Wish you, your team, a very, very happy Diwali and festive greetings, Mr. Venkatramani.
Thank you very much. I reciprocate your greetings.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll step into a short break, and as always, let's give you that programming note. CNBC-TV18 celebrates 25 years of excellence. We invite you to the most anticipated event of the year, the CNBC-TV18 Global Leadership Summit. We're bringing together many visionary policymakers like the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman herself. We have the RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das. Then we have industry leaders, HSBC Bank's Hitendra Dave. We have Kotak Mahindra's Uday Kotak and trailblazing startup founders, all of them up for you on your screen. That's where the roadmap for India's next 25 years of global growth and global leadership will be charted. You really don't want to miss this.